Achievements made easy. Lag walkthroughs. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the final part of our Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny Remastered achievement walkthrough. We're on to the final minigame, Team Oni mode. There's going to be a bit of a preamble here. Video is probably going to be about 45 minutes overall because I'm going to be stopping to explain things to you. Just go into Team Oni. I don't recommend starting it yet because there are a couple of things we have to cover before we do. So, first and foremost, there are basically three floors that are going to be tricky. There's a fourth one that has two tentacle snake monsters, which can be a bit of a problem, but shouldn't be too bad. But floor 10 is the major one. Floor 10 is going to give you the most trouble if you follow along with me. I have strategies for every other floor that should function pretty well, and I'm fairly confident now in my strategy for floor 10, but everything could go wrong, because it always can. Um, Floor 20 is the final boss, which is Human Nobunaga. It's not as hard as you would think. And there's a weapon that Magoichi gets that makes it a cakewalk. In fact, there's two weapons Magoichi gets that make it a cakewalk, but we're going to use one of them on floor 17, which is two of the large red axe demons. And that is an instant kill. So we'll kill one of the large red axe demons with his one weapon, and then we'll use Kotaro to kill the other large red axe demon. So floor 17 should be fairly simple. In floor 20, we'll be using the other Magoichi weapon to kill Nobunaga in about 10 seconds. So I figured out some strategies for what are the toughest floors, but floor 10 is still kind of hit or miss. The strategy can function well for you, but if the AI is being a little mean, you might end up dying there, and it's going to happen. This is probably the second hardest part of the walkthrough, behind the hard playthrough itself. So, um, just warning you now about that. Floor 10 is probably the floor that's going to kill you, although any of the floors could. Um, this is similar to a Phantom Realm. There are 20 floors we're going to be going through. They're just kind of random areas from levels throughout the game. It's not a Phantom Realm where you just go down to the same copy-pasted thing. You are going to be going to different floors and areas from the world that we explored during the story. Um, there's going to be different enemies that pop in. We need to defeat all the enemies and then move on to the next floor. Each floor has an assortment of blue vases that have a single large health orb in them, and gray vases that have a single large magic orb in them. Unfortunately, enemies, even if you crit them, do not drop blue and yellow orbs. And purple orbs don't exist in this either, as you can't turn into an Onimusha. So don't worry about absorbing orbs unless you see yellow or blue ones. We're not going to be worrying about XP. It does matter for the leaderboard, but you pop the achievement whether you place on the leaderboard or not. So all we have to do is finish the game. The only exception to orbs not showing up is Oyu's magic sword, which every swing that lands on an enemy that's not blocking will randomly make an orb appear. So you might get magic, you might get health, you might get XP. I don't think it can cause purple orbs to spawn because I don't think you can get them in this mode. So that can be kind of vital as far as getting through the game, because if you do get lucky, or you can just keep making magic and health come through as you just swing away at everything. So keep that in the back of your mind. If you are having trouble anywhere, you can pull out the Oyu magic attack and hopefully get yourself healed and your magic back. Plus, by pushing in the right analog stick when you're in combat, you can switch to any of the 5 characters you've played as through the game. This is why we waited to do this mode until we did all 4 of the story arcs, so that we could have all 5 characters, because we wouldn't have had Ekei until we finished that 4th run. So this sounds pretty easy. Every floor gives you health and magic. You can swap characters. There are even 5 floors. They are 3, 7, 13, 16, and 19 that are safe floors where you can just equip your weapons and hang out. The catch is that your health bar is constantly depleting. And this is where it gets tricky. The good news is that each character has separate health and magic bars. If you press the right analog in, you are shown a screen with each character's name. Pressing A on each character once will change to that character, showing their health and magic bar display. And this allows you to figure out which characters you might want to heal next, which characters need magic, which characters you don't need to worry about healing, etc. But the game doesn't resume until you press A again on that character or press B. So you can pause the game, stop the timer, your health won't deplete, you can do some strategy in your head, and you're going to have to do this. As much as I can give you as close to a step-by-step walkthrough as I think, the combat is a little bit RNG, so you're going to have different decisions to make than I will. You're going to need to strategize a little bit. But I'm going to give you as much information as I can to help you out with that. Because just like in the Phantom Realms, a pillar of light will appear when a room or floor is clear. This allows you to move on to the next floor. The important thing to remember is that this pillar of light will heal 50% of the character that you use to go through the pillar. So if you get to the pillar and Jubei has full health, open your right analog menu and see if any of your other characters need to be healed, because you can swap and use that free heal on someone else. And then you can just swap back to whatever character you need for the next floor when you get to the next floor. This is the same for the magic and health pots that are on each floor. Before you go through the pillar, make sure that you are using whatever characters need health or magic to break the pots if they don't get broken during combat. It does happen quite a bit, especially when you use Magoichi. If you use a long-range attack, for whatever reason, the AI tends to turn towards the pots and shoot those instead of aiming towards enemies. So Magoichi we're going to try to avoid using until the pots have been destroyed, or we're going to be very careful when we shoot from a distance with him. And also, you can also, for example, if you think a character is weak, in my opinion, Jubei is actually the most useless character for this mode. You can avoid healing him and focus on someone else. In terms of overall importance, all the other four are kind of tied, and then there's Jubei. So if you have to let someone die, after floor 10, Jubei has almost no use. He doesn't show up in any of my strategies, although he is another character to use. All the other characters are more floor specific or enemy specific than Jubei is. The thing that makes Jubei strong in the base game is the ability to level up his weapons, and we don't have that option here. All the other characters are going to get their leveled up weapons, where we're just going to get a level 1 Baraito, a level 1 Hyujin Yari, etc. So the other weapons or the other characters tend to be stronger, and that's why Jubei is kind of the least important character. They do all have their secondary weapons. I think they have like 30 of each of them, but they're not very useful. They're not very strong, so it's basically a last-ditch effort. If you wind up needing to do some damage from a distance, you can try to use them. But for the most part, we're not going to be using them because the amount of damage they do does not outpace the amount of health you're losing. Like, the other thing to keep in mind is absorbing a magic orb as Jubei will not increase, say, Ekei's magic meter. Unlike in the base game, where if you absorb a magic orb as Jubei, while you have the Baraito out, the Hyujin Yari can get its magic back. It doesn't apply across your teammates. So you have to individually keep track of which person needs magic so that you can take advantage of the magic and health pots. And finally, you don't need all 5 to survive. I'm giving you a strategy that basically assumes all 5 survive. I've tried to offer some alternate strategies in case people die, but generally speaking, there are specific levels that without specific characters, it's going to be very hard. I will say floor 20 does not necessarily need the Magoichi strat that I have come up with, where you can beat floor 20 with regular combat, but say floor 17 has 2 of the large red axe demons. If you don't use the strategy I have for that, that floor can be a pain. So it's kind of hit or miss. There's a little bit of RNG here. If you do find yourself in a position without the character that I have, you're going to have to kind of figure it out on your own and see which strategies will work. I just can't go through every single possibility for every single floor depending on who lives and dies. So the best I can do is offer some strategies for each character and maybe a backup strategy or two if someone is missing. But ultimately, you may just have to restart and do your best to keep these characters alive. Uh, on my first run, I made it to the floor 20 with only Ekei and Oyu, and I still beat the final boss fairly easily, actually. So it can be done. You just, in terms of my walkthroughs, I try to give step-by-step walkthroughs, and this is a pretty difficult mode to do that if one of the people dies on you. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started. Start the game. Hold down and a little bit to the right on your left analog so you start running and go through the door. There's a bunch of lizard swordsmen here. Stay by the door. You can crit them if you want. As I already mentioned, you don't get anything extra for critting them, though. Once everything is dead, you can run around and absorb whatever you need. The magic pots, as you can see, are the gray ones, and there's the blue pots there. The enemies can destroy those pots, though, so if they aren't there, that means an enemy, or one of your attacks you may not have seen hit the pot. And these portals heal half your health, so my health is depleting right now, but I'm not all that worried about it. We're going to move on to the next floor, and as soon as we get in, we're going to hit the right stick in, and we're going to go down to Ekei. As you can see here, if I press A on Oyu, it shows Oyu's life and magic bar in the upper left there, all the way through, and once I choose a character, I either press A on them again or press B to get back into combat. So we're going to swap over to Ekei here, and immediately hold forward to run forward. We're going to use his magic, which will freeze all of the enemies, and we're going to go to town on the enemies until they die. If you need to, you can use his magic again, but you shouldn't need to. Make sure you check every floor for the pots. We're going to refill Ekei's magic here because he is fairly useful for us. And then we're good to go stand in the portal. The next floor is a safe floor, so you do get the heal going into the safe floor, and then you can heal again using the portal to leave. But we're going to grab the Burrito and the Phalange from the chests here, and we're going to make sure that we equip both of them to those characters. So swap to Oyu and equip the Phalange. And then swap to Jubei and equip the Burrito. This next floor, the fourth floor, is one of the most annoying, although you're not really in any danger of dying. There are, I believe, 8 or 10 frogs hopping around that pond in the fog forest. And you have to run around and, excuse me, don't hold the right bumper. You're just going to run around and kind of press X when you're on top of the frogs. When they're underwater, there's bubbles that appear above them, but there are certain places, if they stop moving, I believe, where they stop making bubbles. So if you stop seeing bubbles, just run away and try to find a different frog. You also have the problem of your character wants to hit the pots instead of the frogs. So try to start kind of in the center of the pond so that you're not hitting the pot before you need to heal with it. And you can kind of hear if you kill a frog. But we're going to run kind of towards the middle here and hope that we can stab our frogs. You can hit them with an overhead slash like that as well. But it's hard to do. I don't recommend relying on it. There's the big frog. As you can see, my character just wants to hit the pot instead of trying to hit the frog, so. And that's going to happen over here as well. Once all the enemies are dead, you can use the final health pot. If you are running low on health, you can swap to another character, but you shouldn't have too much of a problem there. Floor 5, we're going to swap over to Oyu. We're going to use her magic and then we're going to start swinging away. If one of the enemies starts blocking you, just run away and move to a different enemy. We're going to run back to the archer and start back here, so we're not using up the magic. Then there's two more of them in the middle here, so. Once they're dead, they have the magic, or I mean the health pots around in the corners. If you do need to use them before that, feel free. There are the magic pots in the middle, which unfortunately tend to get broken when you're attacking those two enemies from the middle. But we're going to go ahead and go through this door. Run forward, and just kind of stop at the top. Get this first magic barrel on the right and just swing at these enemies. Try to get them to come up to the top. There's a third one down here. And if you have to get involved with him down here, do it. Then run away up the stairs and swap to Magoichi. Right bumper and just fire at the robot until it dies. It should take 9 or 12 hits. There we go. Grab any health if you need to. There's a magic pot down there, but it might end up dying while you're in the middle of the fight. And you can move on to the next floor, which is a safe floor. If you have anyone that needs healed, double check because you have 2 free heals coming up. So we'll just pop through as Magoichi for this one. And then we'll get the Hujin-Yari, the Roga Kunai, and an herb. The herb is vital for the floor 10 that I've been talking about and made a big deal about. So make sure you hold on to the herb, swap over to Kotaro, and equip the Roga Kunai. And again, remember that Oyu and Kotaro now have the strong weapons. So make sure you pay attention to whoever you need to heal. For us, it's Oyu. We're going to be running up it's a kind of a spiral staircase, and there are 3 archers we need to kill on the way up. As long as you don't take damage, this floor should be pretty easy. So run straight up the spiral staircase. Just pay attention to the timing of the archers. If you feel like you're going to take damage, just block. The running forward attack should kill them in 1 hit, but 2 regular swings will also kill them. Once they're dead, just run back down. There are 2 health pots on the bottom floor, and there's a magic pot, so if you have anyone that needs to refill magic, I think Oyu, with that little bit there, is probably what we need to heal, but we'll take a look. Let's just see here. Yeah, no one else needs anything, so we'll top off Oyu's magic by going beyond the portal here. And then we're going to go back to the portal. This next floor is fairly simple. We're going to swap to Kotaro, use his magic, and kill the log demon. Then we're going to switch to Magoichi, but try to get close to the bugs when they pop out of the ground. There are only 2 of them, but if you are closer to a pot than you are to a bug, Magoichi will shoot the pot. Try to be cautious here. There are tons of pots. I think there's 2 magic and 4 health pots, so try to stay away from the pots and work on the bugs. If you do take damage, you can just use the pots to heal. So go through the portal as Oyu, switch to Kotaro, immediately use his magic, and run forward. About 8 hits will kill him. We're going to destroy the magic pot and swap, get our magic back, and then we're going to swap to Magoichi and move forward to shoot the bug. It should take about 5 hits to kill one of the bugs. Took 7 there, I think, or 6. again, if there's anyone who needs any of the remaining pots, you know, swap over to them and use them. So we'll swap over to Kotaro real quick and use the remaining pots to top him off. And then this is where it gets tough. We're going to swap to Jubei, and this is going to be floor 10. I'm going to go into some detail here before we hop in, because this can be tough. We're going to attack. This is the gold mother ball and the smaller balls, which I think there's 8 of them in total. We're going to try to kill them like we did critting them when we had to crit for the S rank. We went up to the other side of the roof and then just tried to time our attacks after we blocked when they would sit in front of us. It takes 2 hits with the Burrito to kill. There are 8 pots, 4 health and 4 magic on the roof, and we want to try to save those. Once we get rid of all the blue orbs, if you do need the pots, go and grab the health. The magic isn't that big of a deal because we won't be using magic to start, but you're probably going to kill a magic and a health pot with a swing, so it's inevitable. If you have to waste the magic to heal, you have to waste the magic to heal. Once the giant orb comes down, we're going to use both Burrito magic attacks, both Huge and Yari magic attacks, and we're going to go and attempt to get some of our magic back so we can use them again. If we have more than one magic pot remaining, we're going to leave it, because we're going to swap then to Magoichi and use his gun magic to try to finish off this enemy. You have to block the overhead spin that the mother ball does, but the side-to-side spin is unblockable. All you can do is try to run around, and we do have that herb to heal if you need to. If Magoichi starts to die, swap to another character. Ekei, Kotaro, whoever you have to. Ekei's probably the best because he has the longer reach with the spear, but none of their magic attacks are going to counter the spinning moves that the ball can do. So once Magoichi is out of commission, this fight can become very tough, which is why I try to do everything I can as Jubei, as this is the last time that we're really going to need Jubei, although he can be used as a backup. So swap to Jubei, go inside, run back to the left, just pause or block with left bumper, and unfortunately we did a crit there and killed some of the barrels, which is unfortunate. We're just gonna keep doing that until they're all dead. We should have 1 more barrel over there of health on the right, and then there's 2 more on the left side, so if we need them, we'll use them. He's going to do a spinning attack first, block it, and then just spam the Burrito magic twice. Switch to the Huge and Yari, and use that twice. And then we're going to run and get the pots over here. Now, this spinning attack is dangerous, so try to bait it and run around it. If you get caught by it, you can die. And I died there, but again, Jubei is not very important, so he died, we're going to move on. If it was someone else, I'd be much more concerned. We're going to run away as Magoichi and just start firing. Unfortunately, he decided to fire at the barrels, and again we're just going to try to stay away. Go ahead and use his magic. And just try to run away as much as you can. And there, everything is dead. I'm not going to use the herb here. If you do need to use the herb, that's fine. We lost Jubei. Again, Jubei is not critical to the rest of this playthrough. I'm not all that worried about it. So we're going to continue on. If you do keep Jubei, you got an extra body to use on later floors, but it is a little easier to prioritize healing at this point. So we're going to run into the portal here, swap to Kotaro, and you can crit the rolling lizards on this floor. You are going to miss the guy at top of the stairs, but you can get the two to the left here, and then just come back and get the guy. Sometimes he goes down the stairs, but with everything dead, you can then prioritize whoever you need to heal with the remaining pots. For us, it's going to be Magoichi. And then we can move on to the next floor. This next floor is another problem floor. We're going to heal Magoichi. We're going to pop in and switch to Ekei. We're going to run forward right between the two and just use our magic attack and start spamming attack. With Ekei, you can attack from the left side here. Until one of them is dead. And then you have all of the pots here if you do need them. We're going to do the same thing on the other snake. Just start stabbing from one of the sides. And once everything is dead, use the pot to recover. The next floor is a safe floor, so we're just going to run into the portal, and Ekei will heal. You can get the Gorai Shinki, the the Halberd, the Gladius, and Senpumaru. I don't recommend, obviously Jubei's dead, so we're not going to be swapping to the Senpumaru, but I don't recommend doing it anyways. I never used the Senpumaru anywhere, so I didn't find it to be very useful. I'm sure if there's a floor where you're desperate and you still have magic, it can come in handy, but you shouldn't be put in that position here. The Gorai Shinki may be miscoded. Or there are specific enemies that it doesn't work that well on. I don't recommend swapping to the Gorai Shinki. Keep the Tri-Barrel on Magoichi. But as for Ekei, swap to the Halberd, and then swap to Oyu, and get the Gladius. Also double check if anyone needs anything. We look like we're pretty strong here, so. We're going to keep Oyu out, because we want Oyu to start this next floor. We got to go all the way up the stairs. There are purple lizard archers, so just block, because they can cause some damage, and it takes 4 hits to kill them. So if you do manage to get that first running strike in, it only takes 3 hits to kill them. But there are 4 archers in total. Make sure you heal Oyu and work your way down. If her health is getting low, you can use an herb to heal if you need to. If you don't have it, just swap to another character. When we get down to the stairs, we're going to be swapping to Kotaro. Run over here, and you're going to have one of these guys. Do the forward or toward the enemy attack until it dies. And once it's dead, you can get the pots down here. If anyone needs magic, you can swap to them to take advantage, or health, whatever is needed. Magoichi is the guy we're going to be using on the next floor, so I should have used Oyu for the magic, but I did not. That's unfortunate. We're going to head up as Kotaro here, because we want Magoichi to be the guy we enter the portal with. So don't worry about his health too much. Swap over to Magoichi, and immediately hold right bumper and start firing. You should kill the Orb Swordsman with 9 bullets, and 2 more ninjas are going to spawn in after you kill that other one, but the Tri-Barrel kills them in about 6 hits each. Once they're all dead, run to the left and hug this left roof, and you can fire at the Orb Swordsman over here. 9 hits is going to kill this guy, and then you have all of these pots in here to replenish your health and magic should you need it. We don't really have anyone that needs magic, so... I'm going to swap to Kotaro to get some health back for him. Then I'm going to swap to Oyu. To get the health from going through the portal, and then we're going to be on a safe floor. So this is where we get the 2 greatest weapons for this mode. You get the Kunikazushi and the flamethrower for Magoichi. The Kunikazushi is that weapon that Magoichi used on our first playthrough to annihilate Gingham Fats and skip that boss fight. And we're going to use it on the very next floor. The flamethrower is what we use on floor 20 against Nobunaga. So Magoichi is the key. If you wind up losing Magoichi, the rest of this is going to be really hard, and I recommend just restarting. We also get the Dukotsui and an herb. But we're going to swap then to Magoichi. We are going to equip the Kunikazushi. And very quickly, I'm going to go over what you're going to do, because there's going to be a large axe demon spawned right next to you that's going to attack right away. So when you go through the portal, hold up and to the left so that you run away. Then run up to that axe demon, hold the right bumper, and press the attack button. This will fire your Kunikazushi and it should kill the enemy. If it doesn't, switch to a weapon and kill it, or swap to Kotaro and use his magic attack. Because once the first one is dead, that's what we're going to do. We're going to swap to Kotaro and use his magic to finish the other one off. If you still have them alive for some reason, the first one should die no matter what. But if the second one manages to survive 2 of Kotaro's magic, swap to Magoichi, hang back, and shoot at it from a distance. You can even use its Magoichi's magic if you need to. Ekei and Magoichi are the most important for the last 2 floors. Kotaro, Oyu, and Jubei, they're kind of hit or miss. They're just more so bodies at that point. So that's what we're going to do. Make sure you have the Kunikazushi equipped. Go through the portal, wherever it is. I'm struggling there. There we go. Hold up and to the left so you run away. Run up to him, right bumper, and press the X button, and that should kill him. If it doesn't, swap to Kotaro, use magic, and run in and just swing at him. It shouldn't take very long to kill him. Kotaro's magic will run off, but just run away and use it again, and run back and swing away until the axe demon is dead. Once it's dead, both of them are dead. There will be a portal that appears, but you can also run around and replenish any magic or health using the pots. For us, we just need Kotaro. And with that done, we're going to head back to the portal. Ekei's magic is the priority, but it should already be full if you've been keeping up with me, because we're going to use it twice on this next floor. Let's see. Do we have anything else we need? Ekei is who we're using on the next floor, so if anyone needs a heal, feel free to use them to pop through the portal. And then immediately swap to Ekei and run up to that log demon. Right in the middle of the 3, use your magic and just start spamming attack. You'll kill one of them, and then you can start work on a second one before your magic runs off. And then I recommend using your magic again. It did not function. We're going to use it a 3rd time so that we can freeze that guy. Well, it's not working. If Ekei dies, we don't need him on the final floor. So I'm not too worried about that. We'll swap to Kotaro here because he's not useful for the last floor either and finish off that guy. That is unfortunate. Ekei can be useful for floor 20, but if the strategy works for us, we won't need him. So go through the portal. You're supposed to be able to use Ekei's magic on them multiple times, and I don't know why it didn't work there. Because the other times I did that strategy, I was able to freeze that other log demon. So these are 3 healing items in the chest here. An herb and 2 medicines, or 2 herbs and a medicine. And now we're going to switch to Magoichi. And if everything goes to plan, this should be very easy. Go into your equipment menu and equip the flamethrower. All you're going to do is run forward, and I don't know if you have unlimited ammo, so I don't recommend just spamming attack, but you're going to right bumper, you're going to walk towards him, and you're just going to press the X button on and off to spam fire at him. You are probably going to take some damage, but we have all the healing items we just got, and it should take less than like 5 seconds of the flamethrower hitting Nobunaga in order to kill him. This should be very easy. If for some reason this doesn't work for you, there are other strategies to get through him. Now, with Ekei dead, it would be a little bit harder for me, and but generally speaking, what you'd want to do is just kind of run around him in a circle to bait an attack. And once he attacks and misses, you have the opportunity to run towards him and do a running attack. Just one, then retreat and run around him in a circle again. There are 4 health pots around in each corner, 1 in each corner, plus you can use the healing items as well. So if Jubei's alive, you can dodge an attack and use his magic on him. If Ekei's alive, he has the extra reach with his spear, which can make a little bit of difference, but this should be possible with almost every character. So again, have the flamethrower equipped, go through the portal. This is the simplest way to do it. Run forward with the flamethrower out and just start spamming attack at him. He's not supposed to be able to get through your attack, but it looks like he's going to. So we're going to heal here. We're going to run away. Oh, I didn't realize Magoichi is so terrible at aiming. Here I go, like, hey, this strategy is foolproof, and then I'm running around like a crazy person. And there you go. That's how you kill him. Run through the portal, and that finishes off the Oni mode, or Team Oni minigame. And that is your 1000 G, folks. That's the Gathering Forces achievement, number 55 of 56 for 20 G, and the True Onimusha achievement, number 56 of 56, getting you to your 1000 G total. As you can see, it only took us 26 minutes to go through, but I talk a lot, so we're approaching 40 minutes for the video. And that's your walkthrough, folks. If you have any questions or comments for me, reach out to me. I'll do my best to answer them, but if not, I'll see you in my next walkthrough.